Validity. Validity is our first term, we'll say. Remember I said that deductive arguments are evaluated based on whether they are valid and sound. And I said that valid means something very specific in philosophy. Well, valid in philosophy means something about the form of the argument. Okay? When we talk about validity, we are talking about the form of the argument. Validity isn't about content in any way whatsoever. It doesn't matter what is said. Validity is about the form. And the form of the argument must be, if the premises are true, the conclusion must be true. If the premises are true, the conclusion must be true. I want you to think about this sentence. If the premises are true, then the conclusion must be true as well. I want you to think about what this sentence does not tell us about the premises. If the premises are true, the conclusion must be true. What does this sentence not tell us about the premises? Now, historically, when I ask my students in a face-to-face class, I get people will say things like, well, what if they're false or some other ideas. But the correct answer is, it does not tell us that the premises are true. Validity is about the form. It just means if the premises are true, the conclusion must be true. That doesn't mean the premises have to be true, because validity is about form, not content. There is a form of the argument that if the premises are true, the conclusion must be true. But content is questioning, are the premises true? Validity doesn't care about that. Okay? Validity just doesn't care about that. A valid argument can have false premises and a false conclusion. A valid argument can have false premises and a true conclusion. But what a valid argument will never, ever, 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 ever have is true premises and a false conclusion. Okay? I want you to consider this example. If Shmoo is a Magoo, then Snipper is a Pipper. Shmoo is a Magoo, therefore Snipper is a Pipper. That argument's meaningless. I was giving you all a second to absorb it. If Shmoo is a Magoo, then Snipper is a Pipper. Shmoo is a Magoo, therefore Snipper is a Pipper. That argument is meaningless, largely because it is not at all clear what a Magoo or a Pipper is. Is the argument valid? Yes. The argument is valid because if it's true that if Shmoo is a Magoo, then Snipper is a Pipper, and it's true that Shmoo is a Magoo, then it must be true that Snipper is a Pipper. It has the correct form. It has the form that if the premises are true, then the conclusion must be true. It doesn't matter that the premises are meaningless. It doesn't matter if we can never determine if the premises are true. What matters is if they are, the conclusion will have to be true as well. Does that make sense? All right. Well, let's look at some examples.